Hello guys, it's a super beautiful spring in Kyiv. It's a convoy number 39 and finally we see Ukraine has stabilized front and making positive gains. So it's a critical time to help and give more to Ukraine soldiers. And convoy number 39, we are reaching 600 delivered pickup trucks, which is huge help. You wouldn't imagine how much this thing is making difference and helping Ukraine. We have amazing people today in convoy, but first of all, next to me is our new amazing team member, Yevheniia. She would also start to basically talk with units, find about interesting facts. So please.
Hello guys, I'm pretty happy to join this team and bring cars to Ukraine that will actually save the lives of Ukrainian soldiers and also civilians. By the way, don't forget to leave the code in the comment and we will show it right here.
And now guys, let's go and see the soldiers, let's go and see the cars, let's go!
NAFO, Wilde! NAFO, Wilde!
Guys, you see interesting things that this car has been frontline 2 years. So we see evolution of our cars. This is 2 years and now they are getting replacement by Hilux. And so please tell us the story of this car, what has been getting through in these last 2 years.
This car went through 2 years of war. It visited many areas of our front line. It was in the forests near the city of Kryminna, the forests of Liman near Pokrovsk, Toretsk, Kurakhovo, Novy Komar, Nova Ukrainka. In the fiercest battles it withstood 3 FPV drones, but it could not be destroyed. We tried to take care of it, constantly restore it, but there are some scars that will remain on it forever.
Hit 3 times by FPV drone. How did you manage to save this car? Usually it burns down.
We usually try to disguise ourselves and carefully choose the safest position because our work requires a working, reliable vehicle. According to statistics, sooner or later, any vehicle will suffer from shelling.
And what is exactly your job in the unit?
We are preparing drones for combat missions, testing electronic warfare equipment, and building various ground stations. We have highly skilled engineers working in the laboratory. They do all this work, and the pilots go to the positions, risk their lives, and destroy the occupiers.
But that's super interesting. Is it usual that the drone units has lab and testing and so on? Because I haven't heard that often.
We would really like it to work out of the box like the medevac. But unfortunately, technology does not change so quickly. Sometimes you even have to buy something at your own expense. Sometimes the state provides something.
I assume most of the things is made in Ukraine, but do you have also drones which is outside of Ukraine, which is effective and good?
99% are Ukrainian drones, which have recently shown very high efficiency. We are generally satisfied with what the state and volunteers provide us with, but we have to upgrade some of them from time to time to meet our needs. But Ukrainian drones are probably the best in the world right now. Do you work with fiber optic drones? We do not work with fiber optic drones. It is very expensive. It's easier to change the radio channels on conventional FPV drones. or, for example, to modernize the antennas. We have our own specifics of work for fiber optic drones, which currently does not allow us to be effective. There are a lot of forests in our region of operation. Fiber optic drones have low efficiency in the forest. It is much easier to lose such a drone than a drone with a radio signal. Such drones can easily cling to a tree branch and the signal is lost.
How much you getting from central command drones and how much is depending on the volunteers? What's the ratio now?
We receive almost 100% from the state.
So actually now the system is working good. So that's very good news indeed.
We would like to get more, but we have what we have. Thank you, Jake, for being there in these difficult times. I want to thank you and your subscribers for helping us raise money for this vehicle. Thank you very much.
Дякую тобі. Слава Україні! Героям слава!
Yeah, for those who haven't heard and just joined us, it's 8:59 right now, and at 9 a.m. sharp, we have all the national Ukrainian minute of silence in honor of those who died and gave their lives to protect this country, to protect our freedom. So please, let's stay silent and think about those who we know died in this war to honor them. Somebody has to be in charge, so that's why we thank you folks, from NAFO Lieutenant to General, for your commitment and help to Ukraine to win in this horrible war. Guys, we are to meet Mamba. Mamba is a foreign volunteer, the platoon sergeant of the 42nd Mechanized Brigade. And Mamba is from South Africa. You've been serving in Ukraine for around 2 years, right?
Almost 2 years, yeah.
How did this happen? Like, how did you what was the point of your life that you decided, I'm going to join the Ukrainian army and fight with Russians?
Okay, so I've lived in Eastern Europe, in Georgia for 5 years. And then when the full-scale invasion started, I will never forget, I saw a news clip of Mariupol, and there was a blonde little girl crying for her dad that just died in one of the terrorist attacks. And I've got a daughter as well that lives in South Africa, which was about the same age as her. And I will never forget that that impacted me. And I thought for myself, you know, you've got the skill, you've been trained well, and we cannot just stand by and see our nation is, the next generation of Ukrainians will just be wiped out and Russified. So yeah, then decided I had to set up company stuff, so I could actually come over and set up management for the company. And then arrived in Ukraine, and beautiful country. It reminds me a lot of South Africa, and the people, beautiful people. So I mean, I fell in love with the people here. They're tenacious, they're fighting spirit. We can go to trenches and there will be guys 60 years old, but still there and still fighting. And no matter what the political background is or what the changes is, the guys are still fighting. And I mean, if you've never been to Ukraine, come to Ukraine and experience that, and then you'll understand why we as foreigners want to fight for this country.
You said that before coming here, you had a skill. What were you doing before you came here?
So I was in the SA-NDF, and then after the SA-NDF, I went corporate and then decided to do PMC work in Africa. So I spent 5 years in Africa. So that's where most of my training has come from. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And during these 2 years in Ukraine, what can you say about this war? How did this change in these 2 years that you've been fighting here?
Well, I mean, I've got mates that was here right at the beginning, and they were given an AK and a magazine and said, okay, you're going to defend Kyiv now. I mean, it doesn't work like that anymore. The ZSU has changed tremendously. I mean, from the structure point of view, Zelensky also appointing advocate for the soldiers. I mean, if you have a look, it's always the guys from Europe says to me, yeah, but there's still Russian stigma in the ZSU. And I say to them, yeah, remember that most of the guys that's in senior positions now has gone to Russia for their military career. But they must also remember that the ZSU has changed in 3 years what would take normal armies 20, 40 years of change. And another thing that they must remember is that in NATO, yes, you can go to Ramstein and go and do an exercise and you can work out everything, but there's nobody really firing at you. We have to learn by people's lives. It's a total different experience and a total different learning curve.
Do you think that after this full-scale invasion eventually ends or stops, do you think that Ukrainians will have lots of things to teach European armies? Do you think that's going to be a case?
Well, I can tell you the technologies that we use, things that, for instance, drone warfare, things like that. I mean, there would be any military that's not pulling in Ukrainian soldiers to come and teach their people will be stupid because the war has changed completely. The world must pull that information to make sure that they get up to date with what the latest technologies are and also tactics, for sure.
Thank you so much. I hope this car is going to serve you well. Good luck to you. Thank you for what you are doing. As a Ukrainian, I appreciate it so much because you're saving not only the lives of your comrades, but also mine and my friends and everybody else who lives in Ukraine and have the opportunity to be here right now in Kyiv, not under the shells, not hiding in the basement as so many thousands of Ukrainians did in the beginning of war especially and are doing now on the front lines, like in Kherson, in Kharkiv Oblast. It's I've been to those places and I truly appreciate being right here and having all this around. So thank you so much.
It's a privilege for us to be able to serve the people of Ukraine. I mean, it's not a right, it's a privilege. So for us to make a difference, I mean, all my guys will always tell you, it's a privilege because you can really see the appreciation from the Ukrainian people. I mean, I had a week ago, we were in Kharkiv quickly for some stuff that we had to do, and I had a babushka come and hug me, and she was crying, and I mean, it's things like that. It's just amazing, and it gives us energy and it makes us go. So.
And one last thing I would like to ask you: what would you say? What would you want to address to any other European citizens who are now realizing that the situation is changing and we need to be on more?
I always say, if I can say anything to politicians, it will be, remember what you're going to tell your grandchildren in 20 years' time. Are you going to be proud? Are you going to stand up? Or are you going to bow down your head and say, oh, I did nothing about it and I was politically pressured? I mean, it's time for them to stand up now. It's Europe. And yeah, again, it's not for this generation. We're saving it for generations to come. And if you really want to make a difference, remember, what are you going to tell your grandchildren? So, yeah. I just want to today say thank you very much. We just received this from DACH Battalion. Chris, Catherine, Kai, all the guys, thank you very much. Everybody that donated towards this vehicle.
I'm doing this convoy because that's the only right thing to do. Everyone needs to do something. This is my way of not only donating, not only involving people in the matter, informing them, but actually being here, meeting with the people that are fighting in the front lines. And it's important that they also see us, not only the trucks, but people behind the trucks that are standing with them, standing with Ukraine. I'm doing convoy for already quite a few times because it's not enough. There needs to be, if there would be 2 times a month convoys, then I would need to come 2 times a month. And it's also about meeting the people, incredible people that are all having Ukraine in their thoughts and they're doing something in terms of helping Ukraine, whether it's donating, whether it's building weapons, where there are systems of defense, and it's also meeting them and then thinking about how we can further strengthen not only Ukrainian security but also European security. My favorite part of the convoy is, of course, giving interview, but maybe driving a car, going 30 hours straight, trying out what's the max limit that Hilux can take on the road. Making sure that then it's safe to drive as well fast in the front lines. But I think the drive is always the best part of convoy. And of course then meeting all of these beautiful people that are here as well. I think it's important for people in Baltic states to support Ukraine now and forever, because we have our own history lessons. I think Baltic people understand that, but from understanding to action there is a step, and not everyone is taking that step and taking actively enough. Keeping Ukraine in prayers and thoughts and putting a sticker on your Facebook profile does not do anything, but actually raising money, coming here, speaking with politicians, that's how we can actually increase the awareness. And that's why it's important, because Ukrainian security is first of all, of course, as well European security and Baltic security.
So we are giving now the next car, which is the medevac. And by the way, this medevac, we are trying new thing. We was putting here material for the sharpener. So let's see, will it make sense? This is the first time we are trying it, because as I understand, one of the main things which is dangerous is sharpener and all of those things for the car. But let's maybe go for you. Tell your story, because as I understand, first of all, how was your life before the war? What was your job? Who you was working before the war?
Well, before the war, I was head of GR of Samsung, Ukraine and Moldova.
Head of HR?
GR, Government Relations Department.
Okay, so you worked in Samsung? Okay.
Yeah, so I was lobbying interests of the big business in Ukraine, was providing digitalization of education process in Ukraine. And then when the war started, I was moving my family out of the Kyiv. And I have a house in Makariv, so we went to that house, and the next morning Russians were starting to assault Makariv. I gave keys to my family and left in the city with a double barrel and 4 bullet shots, 12 gauge, and with the guys like me, like lawyers, tractor drivers, we started the resistance and fighting Russians with everything we had. And then there we realized that, I realized personally that I have to stop my life, my business, everything for a while, because I've seen the crimes that they were doing in Bucha region, how they were shooting civil people, just escaping. The civil people were marked cars that these are children, they have no danger, but Russians were shooting them. And then I'd make a decision that I want to join some military official organization, some unit to keep protecting, to keep fighting for my own home.
You have been wounded as well in that 3 years?
Yes, we were spotting tanks, and we have no idea, we have no military education, so we were spotting them incorrectly. We had the laser tracer. We didn't know that you need to trace like place that is like near the tank, and we were tracing that tank, and tank automatically turned the turret to the place we were staying and shot, and we were a little bit, that day was pretty bad for us.
So you got basically direct hit from tank?
Yeah. Well, it was not direct to me. I was running down the stairs and tank was shooting the house where we were sitting. My military unit commander, brigade commander, he told me that we were doing everything to get killed.
God.
Like I told him my story, what we were doing while we were like escaping, and he was sitting like, I mean, guys, you were doing everything to get killed. Like you were doing directly everything.
Okay, but we have also some package from Estonia, so you could get like the taste of Estonia. There is the Estonian bread, there is a sausage, there is a cheese, chocolate, there is a sugar for the coffee. So you can at least, because it's a long war, and there are more and more elements. So we just wanted to give you also the feeling of Estonia.
I would like to thank Estonian guys and European people for the support, because what we see the tendency that Europe are waking up. It's not saying about like Estonia, Latvia, you know about everything, what the risks that you may face, and that's why you're standing with us from the very beginning and without changing the pace. However, what we see right now with the other guys, like with the big old European countries, they are waking up. We're starting to discuss pretty serious things. So yeah, I believe that, like we are Europeans, we are 500 millions guys. Russians, if we stay together, they will not break us. They will just not. And never believe that the Russia is not, that the Russia is unbreakable. It's bullshit. It's not. All the history, Russia was, we kicked their asses. All the history. I mean, like starting from the Frenches, Germans, Russia was always breaking. So it's a myth that they have created, and unfortunately all the European people believed in it, but it's not. We're small countries. I mean, I started my war with a double barrel against the guys with the tanks, and they didn't take Makariv. I'm not saying that I protected Makariv personally, but there with me was the guys, the same, with together with the army. We protected Makariv, and they did not take it. It's the city that never fall, and they couldn't take it, and they have to move them away and change plans. So they're not that tough, and they understand powerful. They understand power, they understand strength, and if we stay together, they will not do anything to us.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
We would like to thank for all monthly subscribers for donating for the car. You did an amazing job, because right now we have a medevac that will save guys in Kupyansk direction.
Guys, ready to meet Fancy, also known as Serhiy Cherkov, who used to be a pretty famous Ukrainian stand-up comedian. Can you tell us more, Serhiy, about your previous experience before you joined the army?
Yes, I am a Ukrainian stand-up comedian, but my career is on pause now. From the very beginning of the full-scale invasion, I was performing in charity tours in Ukraine and abroad, and I was on the other side of this conversation. I was the person who collect and raise money for vehicles, for drones, and so on and so forth. But now it's my turn to be in army, so I'm here. And I think that's all. I don't know what to tell about Ukrainian stand-up. Ukrainian stand-up is great, and it's quite paradoxical, but the full-scale invasion gave a chance for Ukrainian culture, and lots of Ukrainian comedians became popular because people wanted to watch Ukrainian content. And it's always about some specific chemistry between me and the audience. So maybe the addition of auctions to concerts is an important part of Ukrainian stand-up during the war. I can't imagine Ukrainian stand-up without auction, because we have to collect money, we have to raise money, all different ways. Everything that we can sell, we will sell. I sold empty bottles, and I was I don't know, I'm am I allowed to say like this? I sold.
We can cut it.
yeah. I sold fucking nothing. It was a lot. I was telling, okay, who won't buy nothing?
How much did people pay for that?
Something around $1,000, I think. Yeah,
for nothing.
Yeah. For nothing. Yeah, it's quite cool because you don't need to carry it.
Yeah, that was the main motivation, I think. You're now serving in one of the best drone units in Ukraine and maybe even in Europe. How did you decide? How did you choose this unit?
It took around 6 or 8 months for me to find the unit, and very important for me was to work with people I know. So I tried to find a unit among my friends, and then you have all this. You have all these levels of communication and interviews and so on and so forth. Then you have this basic course. So I think it's around 6 months from the very beginning to the moment I got to unit.
Thank you for serving. Thank you for joining the army and also get some patches.
Oh.
And you also have some Estonian sweets.
Estonian sweets?
Yeah, in that.
Cool. I enjoy Estonian sweets.
Yeah, they must be really nice, especially on the front line when you would feel some hungry, and yeah, you have something sweet is always nice. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
The 412th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Systems Nemesis thank you and your followers for raising money for this vehicle together.
You are now more and more working with drones. What has now changed in the last, I don't know, six months? Because do you also guys see more and more drones with FPV drones? That FPV drones with optical cables in your area?
There are no such opportunities yet.
But then how to get the advantage to Ukraine? Because you said one thing that like you don't have the FPVs with optical cable because they are expensive. This means that if you would have more help and more like advanced drones, then you can be not 50-50 but maybe 70-30, or what is your feeling?
Only because we have friends, look like you, look like NAFO, Dmitry and all your team. We have a rep, we have an auto.
In the unit, I'm now in charge of supply. About 70 vehicles have been supplied under my supervision. 15-20 cars out of 70 are from Estonia. No one is helping as much as Estonians are. As soon as we win the war, I will immediately go to Estonia because I'm very interested in what kind of people they are.
As the war is already 3 years, I understand that your unit every one of this unit has been wounded 1 or twice or even more. And how is it possible that, I also heard that your people even paid bribe to get out of hospital to go back to the front line.
Well, I gave a bribe to be accepted into the army. During the Revolution of Dignity, I was injured on Institutska Street. At that time, there was a shooting of the Heavenly 100. Then I have a severe bullet wound. I was clinically dead. I was treated for about 6 months and then got to the Donetsk airport. I wanted to fight in the 93rd Brigade because 10 years ago I was a member of the 93rd Brigade Holodny Yar at the Donetsk airport. 100 years ago, these were the last fighters for Ukraine's independence. At that time, the Bolsheviks' army attacked Ukraine. Ordinary students took up arms and went to meet them. Unfortunately, they were killed. Then we lost our independence for 80 years. We call ourselves after those legendary heroes. But this time we will not lose because we have friends like you, those who support us, believe in us and pray for us. And it is tangible. We are not alone with the enemy.
What then should change Ukraine army to get advantage and win the war? Because it's, do you see the changes now because there is new commander of ground forces? Do you see any improvements from that side?
We still want to live.
Вы еще пожить хотим.
Okay, we don't need to ask that question.
Please let us live a little longer. My wife is pregnant.
NAFO, Ragnar и вся...
NAFO, Ragnar and this whole company, I love you all very much. I am very grateful to every volunteer, every donor who helps this foundation. They don't help selectively. It's not like you are our favorite and that's it. We only give you help. Look at the number of cars. Who can organize this today? Look at the number of different brigades and units. HUR, SSO, Territorial Defense, AFU are here. This is a really big help. And most importantly, it's not even about this vehicle. It's about how we feel. We feel that someone cares about us.
А это ATEY
And this AT-4 is a joint production of Swedes and Americans that was used near Klishchiivka. We are very fond of these grenade launchers, even though we have different means of destruction, but this is considered to be one of the best.
Этот считается один из самых лучших. Передача это идет для того, чтобы люди всегда...
We're sending it to the people so that they can remember that we're not shooting from a bow or throwing sticks. We have something to fight with. Thanks to the help of Europe, people from Western countries and the entire civilized world who give us normal weapons. This is Soviet bullshit, but it's still better than nothing. That's why we will fight anyway. With or without help, we will fight to the end. But with you, of course, we have more fun. We would like to send a huge thank you to Jake Broe, his followers, his donors, all his friends for the provided car. This is not the first assistance from Jake Broe and his followers.
Now, next unit, Code 9.2. Is here was a unit which was leading the many the top dashboards as a best drone unit. And let's ask, so now Andriy is one of the commanders of the unit.
Ми зараз трансформуємось.
We are now transforming from a company of attack UAVs into a large assault battalion. And despite the fact that we have always been a UAV strike unit, we have also worked with infantry. We realize that drones alone cannot win the war. We need people on the ground. We need infantry. That's why we're creating an assault battalion with infantry, tanks, artillery and other units. Only an orchestra can play a symphony. A single violin or drum or cello cannot play a symphony. Therefore, in order to effectively conduct combat operations, to win the war, all components are needed: artillery, tanks, drones and infantry. So, if we come back to the question of the best tactics for today, it is the tactics of rational use of all the means of fire that we have.
Є в тебе.
How much your unit is using FPV drones by cable?
In one day, one group uses from 10 to 15 fiber optic drones.
And is it by the technical quality or is that level as at no, the biggest problem as I understand is the cable? How is, in your experience, is it already in that level that there is no problem with cable?
there are problems, there are limitations because certain conditions must be met to use fiber optic drones. The terrain is especially important. It happens that the fiber optic simply breaks when the drone flies 2-3 kilometers away. It even happens that the coil freezes when it's cold outside and stops on winding. But in general, the main thing is the terrain.
Okay, but this, as I understand, your unit is also an example of the future army, that it's not a lone drone, but mixing everything, or...
Так і є, на наш погляд.
That's true. In our opinion, an effective unit of the future army should be one that includes all the components that work together. The work should be done by robots, drones, UAVs in the sky and on the ground.
БПЛА на небі і на землі.
I think also this is why it's very symbolic that exactly this Jake Broe, our American influencers, car number 100 is for you. And
Yes.
so it's it was a very young car, like 2000 whatever. 2017. So it should. We really hope that you deserve and its car would survive long time.
Long time.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much. Thank you.
I want to thank you, Jake, and your subscribers for raising money for this car and give it to us to use. It is very significant that this 100th vehicle that is being transferred is going to us, to the most effective unit that destroys a lot of enemies.
How you was mobilized and how medical doctor turned into the drone operator.
Так, в складі своєї групи ми приймали участь.
As part of our groups, we took part in the defense of the Kharkiv region in 2024 and in the defense of Donbass. I was injured near Pokrovsk and had to undergo treatment for quite a long time. But while I was serving in the combat group, I became very interested in drones. I took several courses and after recovering from my injury, I was enrolled in a UAV unit. Now it is aerial reconnaissance.
І вже після поранення був зарахований до групи БПЛА.
The next question I have is that which kind of little bit share, which kind of drones you're working? Is it you're working in the zero line or you're doing deep strikes? Or you're doing even intelligence? Because there are so many different jobs.
Of course.
Now we use Ukrainian-made equipment.
I assume you use quite often then DJI products or you use different products?
Different one.
Different one, okay. But mainly is this, what you're working, is it made Ukraine or the global products?
Now we are using Ukraine products.
So Ukraine has already good intelligence drones and your work is basically covering zero line up to 5-10 kilometers from, or
That's right.
enemy is specifically focusing killing drone operators.
Yes.
What is the thing you can make your work safer?
Trenches.
Okay.
Hide in the trenches.
So you as a drone operator need to also hide in trenches?
Of course.
Okay, but you are not in zero line.
You should not be on the open space.
No, indeed, you need to hide it. But you're not in you at least few kilometers from zero line, or what is your...
Even more.
Okay, because as I understand now, 5 kilometers from zero line is a kill
5
zone.
kilometers near the front line, it's also very dangerous zone. 5, 10, 15.
Already 15?
Of course.
What's the key skills what you need to learn to being a great operator?
A lot of skills.
Starting with fine motor skills and control, ending with knowledge of the terrain and so on.
Закінчуючи знаннями місцевості і так далі.
Given that drones can have technical problems and so on, is also operator need to fix them before flying mission, or this is different people?
Так, звичайно.
Yes, of course. Both the drone operator and the technician who is a part of the group must have the skills to repair the drone if something happens.
Okay, but we really hope that this will make your missions more successful, and we really hope that the that Ukraine will have more and more success, because the fact is it's a drone war now.
Yes,
It's
that's
a
right.
robotic
You're
war. Here is the badges from this car.
Thank you.
And thank you so much
Thank you.
for your work. We all basically
Thank you also.
hope that it will.
Thank you for support. Thank you and all of your subscribers for this for collecting money for this beautiful car. It will help us to do our military job and bring victory for Ukraine faster. Thank you once again and to your subscribers. Slava Ukraini! Heroyam Slava!
Okay, so we have our next unit now. We're keeping car, and this unit is ATEY. Maybe first, and next to me is a commander of that special unit. Can you first share the story of the name and what is unit about?
Давній скіфський цар.
ATEY was an ancient Scythian king, one of the greatest warrior kings who won all his battles. Then, after his victories and the reconquest of his territories, he lived in peace for a long time. When he regained his territories, the outskirts flourished for a long time. King ATEY died at the age of 90 while defending his territories. The Scythians also once lived and prospered on the territory of Ukraine.
Якраз жили та процвітали на території саме України.
And if I understand, your unit is now 2 years old, and you have done quite many operations behind even enemy lines, but you have basically had very minimum, almost no human losses. So what is secret behind of that? How you can be so effective?
Під моїм командуванням
Under my command, there was not a single casualty during the 2 years of war, despite the fact that we worked in different directions for more than a month, and even worked for several months in the Bakhmut direction. How did we achieve this? First of all, it was hard training. The second is a good mood. We have always gone on combat missions with a positive attitude and with expectation that we will successfully complete the task and return alive. We always try to think positively. Because of this, I believe we successfully completed the mission. And one of the main points is mission planning and people's trust in the person who leads them, in the commander.
But the training, super important. How often do you do training? Because for me, as a civilian, it seems that the FPV drones changed everything, and now FPV drones are flying with optical cables, which is making things more complicated because there is no good countermeasures without shooting them. So how often you need to retrain and get the skills, because it seems that this war is changing so fast.
Now the war has changed. It is not a war of people, but of equipment. And we train not only with people, but also use a variety of equipment. Drones, heavy vehicles, and so on. We create a semblance of a combat mission and even simulate an attack with FPV drones. One group tries to hit the other with a training drone. In other words, we're adapting to the specifics of this particular war. Volunteers also help us a lot and provide us with the means to fight these drones. The first aid training and, let's say, speed and efficiency in decision-making, which helps to save the lives of soldiers, is important.
Given how effective your unit has been, so what is your view, how Ukraine army could be, using your experience, being also more effective? Because the fact is that the human life, every soldier is the biggest asset. How to improve the NASA unit effectiveness? Can it be improved by your experience?
Я думаю, саме в манері роботи з людьми.
I think it is the way we work with people. We have a slightly different system in the unit compared to others. Of course, everyone understands who the commander is, but my attitude towards people is less military and more human, sociable. This is what I would change in all units of the Ukrainian army. In my system, there is a clear understanding of when working hours are over and when rest begins. When working hours are over, we become the closest friends. We can laugh, drink coffee, and joke together. But when working hours come, I become a commander, because we should not forget that training people is the most important thing. It saves their lives.
Головне не забувати, що підготовка людей – це саме основне, і це збереже їм життя.
So I thought, yeah, doing nothing is not an option. Donating probably is not enough. So I need to do more. So I decided to join the convoy and meet the people that actually do something. You can't be neutral when you're facing an aggressor. It's not an option. And if your government doesn't do anything, you have to do it yourself. And you have to find your way to support the Ukrainian army and the people. So that's what I do, just donating and try to do my part to win this war, and victory will be ours.
Christopher, Chuck, Cindy, Dan, Dmitry, Frank, Helen, Jan, John, Keith. So many names of our sergeants and lieutenants of the recurrent donations. We want to say thank you guys for supporting us and being with us through all this way. And by the way, we are having all of your names on each tracks of our convoys, and hope the next time we're going to have even more. Here we are with Artist. He is the Chief Sergeant of 111th Territorial Defense Brigade. And he has his way from working in Dovzhenko studios to actually being sergeant of an anti-aircraft unit. And we will now know a little bit more about his past. So could you please tell us how was this, what was the time when you decided to join the army and leave your previous job behind? That, from what I know, it's a pretty interesting story.
I worked at the Dovzhenko film studio. I was a lighting technician. When the full-scale war started, the guys said that we had to go and do something. Trenches, dugouts, checkpoints. And then when the Russian troops withdrew from Kyiv, we decided to join the armed forces. There were 5 of us, and we've been fighting together ever since.
During these 3 years of serving, do you have any stories, maybe from the beginning of war or like later, that you remember really clearly and you would like to tell us and our audience something that happened or was unusual or just something you remember?
There are many interesting stories. Although, how can they be interesting? They are interesting only now. They were not interesting then. There is a story that is particularly memorable. When I was in the volunteer formation of the territorial community at the beginning of the war on February 28, 2022, there was a story about the Adonis maternity hospital. A large column of Russian heavy equipment stopped about 900 meters away. And I said, "Guys, let someone go with me. We need to evacuate people from there." There were a lot of doctors, mothers-to-be, and even women who were hospitalized with oxygen tanks because they could not breathe normally. On February 28, we went to Adonis and took everyone out, all the women and doctors and nurses. We were the last to leave, and a minute later, Adonis was shelled.
You were in an infantry for a pretty long time, for almost a year, which is known to be like the hardest position in armed forces, because you were on positions for a very long time, sometimes with no logistics, and had to spend lots of time in trenches. Can you tell us more about that time? What was the hardest for you maybe during the time when you were serving in infantry?
It is always hard and scary in the infantry. When you are in the infantry, you realize that when you go to a position, you may not get there. When you leave the position, you may not be able to leave the position, because there is a constant shelling, either with mortars or FPV drones. It is very scary and very difficult morally and psychologically. I saw many people who could not cope with it. And they were, as they say, going crazy. People lost their common sense because you're always in mortal danger. And when you see this all the time, it's very scary. Infantry is infantry.
You also had an initiative to create an anti-aircraft battery and unit, and you managed to do that, and you were training the guys, your team. Can you tell about how this happened? Because from what I know, it's pretty hard to initiate new things in the military. It's a very stable structure, which is hard about being flexible. So how did you manage to?
After we served in the infantry, the commander offered us to move to the defense of the sky. He said, "You are done running around." Mobile fire groups that move quickly are a very effective tool against enemy wings, drones and other aerial targets. Creating the unit was difficult. You have to select candidates, train them. They have to be reliable people in whom I am confident. People who will support me and will not be afraid. We have to look for vehicles, build dugouts, look for effective firing points. All this we did during the creation of the unit and continue to do every day to complete the unit to the end. It is very hard to do, but still easier than in the infantry.
I wish this car to serve you as long as possible and help you shoot down all of the drones and everything that can bring a threat to Ukrainian people. And again, thank you for your service, for doing that, for doing this job. And there is also a patch from the organization, from people who raised money for this car. And yeah, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much.
Слава Україні!
Героям слава! Дякую вам.
Дякую, Faroe Island, за зібрані.
I thank Faroe Islands and everyone who contributed to the purchase of this vehicle. This vehicle will perform combat missions in the Donetsk direction.
В складі МВГ. Слава Україні! Дякуємо.
Can you explain how actually usual drone operation will look like? Because it's not only you're flying, there are many steps to have it. Can you describe us what's the usual drone operation?
Прямо точно я не можу надати таку інформацію.
I can't provide you with exact information, but it is always mandatory to have evacuation means in intelligence. By the way, last time we received a special evacuation vehicle from you. It does its job very, very well. Thanks to it, we also fulfill our missions and save lives.
Також завдяки ньому виконуємо місії і зберігається людське життя.
There are more and more drone operators targeted by the enemy, so which means that your working basically distance is more and more difficult, because as I understand you have zero line and at least 5-10 kilometers is fully covered by the drones of enemy drones. So how much it's working and how you can exactly be effective when enemy targeting you as well every second?
We
work with different means. Yes, indeed, some groups work directly on the front line. There are those who work a little further away. In general, it is reconnaissance and eyes. It doesn't work in any other way. In any case, when you perform any task, you should have not 2, but 4 eyes and 4 ears. What do you think needs to be changed to make the Ukrainian army better and intelligence more effective? Should we improve training or get modern equipment? How else can volunteers help you? This is all important. All the means depend on each other, and it is impossible to single out one thing. If you have a super cool drone and volunteers don't help with the car, it won't be good. A good drone needs to be piloted by an equally good pilot. Everything is interconnected.
You itself joined army 2 years ago. What was your life before the war? What was your profession?
Internet, marketing, trade.
How easy, or like how was training and how easy was training from marketing person Your main job is drone operator, or what is your main job in the battalion?
Щодо того, чим я саме займаюсь в батальйоні.
As for what exactly I do in the battalion, I do not want to disclose. But I will answer the question why I joined the armed forces. When an enemy army is attacking my country, it doesn't matter whether you're a baker, a marketer, or a taxi driver. You have to defend your country.
What is now life cycle of the cars? I understand that majority of them is destroyed exactly by drones, which means it's more and more damage, and the cars, as I understand, could be very shortly. Like what is overall you see in your unit? How long usually cars are lasting?
Дивіться, в нас трошки специфічна робота.
We have a specific job compared to other units. In the infantry, a car lives from 7 to 30 days on average. We try to keep all our vehicles in excellent condition because we drive a lot, cover long distances, and cover them quickly. We arrive, do our work, and leave just as quickly. That is why we keep our cars in good condition, because this is our life and the successful completion of the task.
І ми їх тримаємо в такому стані. Тому що це наше життя, це виконання задачі.
Okay, but we really hope that this car will make lots of success, because we believe that your unit is probably the best piece strategy that Ukraine has to hitting deeply Ukraine with different hitting deeply Russia, and your unit also probably quite soon will help Europe to rearm, because you know what is the drone operations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is for you the badges.
Hi Jake, I want to thank you and your subscribers for helping us buy this car. This is not the first vehicle you have donated to us. Thanks to this equipment, we will destroy the enemy.
We donated some funds in the past, and we, as a result, received an invite to join the convoy. And it sounded like you may be a bit short, and we've been following the war since it started, and we're very supportive, and thought, well, this is a really good opportunity, we should be in it. So here we are. In Australia, we don't see a lot of news now, especially since Trump's gone crazy and taken over the news headlines. But personally, my wife and I follow it every day since the start, watch a lot of podcasts, a lot of YouTube, and so yeah, we try to keep up to date, and we're really pleased to have the opportunity to be involved. Convoy was good, the vehicles performed well, we drove them pretty hard, quite fast, and they stood up to it, so that was good. It was basically non-stop, no sleeps or anything like that. But I've done a lot of driving in the past, so that was not a problem. That worked out pretty well. To help Ukraine, the Aussies need to firstly keep informed, watch the news, look at the podcasts from the people that are on the front line. It's terrible what's happening, not only to the soldiers but to the civilians. Kids that have been kidnapped, it's a real tragedy. And to help, I think first they need to be informed, and then they can do what they think. They can donate money, no need to come and join the convoy, but donation of funds is important and can help everybody.
Taman, hi. Can you say a little bit more about you? What were you doing before war, and when war started for you, when you joined the army?
Okay, sure. So, greetings from Ukraine. My service started at 2014. I joined the military when war started with the Russian proxies on the east of the Ukraine. Before that, I was a student. I studied at the National University to become a teacher, history teacher, and and that's it. And when Revolution of Dignity started, I joined as well, and then I went to serve.
As a historian, a little bit more about your previous experience. As a historian, do you think that this war that we're having now is kind of the war of independence that Ukraine is having? I mean, we got the independence in 1991, but do you think that now is this turning point when we have to kind of prove it? Or something? I just heard this kind of thoughts from other historians, and I'm wondering what you think about it.
I would say this war is the continuing of the general war that never really ended, because since 1991 the war was continuing, but it didn't call a war because it was with different assets, mostly like media and cultural events, something like this. Money, corruption, stuff like this, that influenced our army very much, and so on. And before that it was occupation by Soviet Union, and before Soviet Union, again it was the same war with empire, and even before that. So this is one big long war that we have changed, by the way, to end now in 21st century.
Cars are often getting destroyed in war because they are the primary targets of the enemies. Do you, sometimes it's a luck, sometimes it can last longer, sometimes less. Maybe you have some numbers of how long your cars are usually serving in your unit.
It really depends, because it depends on region you need to work at, and it depends on the situation, what's going on in this region. And sometimes the car may last really years, and sometimes you can lose this car, I don't know, very soon. To lose this car, you need to conduct a proper pre-reconnaissance, do not danger, if I can say so, environment. Just, I would say, do a proper reconnaissance and analyze and adapt, and your car will last longer.
Okay, so I hope it actually lasts as long as possible and saves as many lives as possible, and provide the best logistics for you. Thank you for doing your job. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, and also a patch.
I'd like to express our gratitude for the National Discar to Frank Wilde and his subscribers. This car will help us in our logistics and support us during the conducting of our combat missions.
Well, in our work, each job is important because the details matter. And the same with the nations. I want to say thank you to our private, corporals, and specialists for their help. And you're now serving in the National Guard. And from what I know, your company is mostly working with unmanned systems and drones, surveillance and destruction. Can you tell us more about your job, what exactly you're doing?
Our work involves a full cycle of support for infantry and artillery units. We're engaged in the detection of enemy targets, their destruction, and artillery adjustment. The range of our tasks is never constant. We're also engaged in logistics with the help of heavy ground and aerial drones. We deliver ammunition, food, other provisions, and medicines. In general, we're limited only by financial resources and our imagination.
You said that one of your limits is your imagination. Does it mean that your unit or you remake drones like from what they are originally in order to be more useful for your goals?
Yes, we modify some drones. This mainly relates to FPV drones. One of the interesting stories is that we bought an ordinary loudspeaker for a DJI Mavic. In civilian life, it is used to locate people in search missions. But we used it to capture several Russians. We made them an offer that they could not refuse and surrendered to us.
First of all, this is an amazing story. I never heard anything similar from anyone. I knew that, for example, Russians are sending like small pieces of paper with some invitation to surrender, but using the drone and the speaker was really interesting. Here we have the box of Estonian sweets, but here is something really unusual which we didn't have near any other boxes, and this is something that Horvat bring. So what is this?
This is a part from an S-300 missile that the Russians launched at our control points. But fortunately, they missed. So we went to the field and found this souvenir and decided to give it to you.
Well, this car is going to be serving your units and helping you on your missions, taking more POVs and saving more Ukrainian lives. I also want to invite here Arno. He was the one who was also helping to collect money for this specific car, and here are also patches for you.
Gift for you.
Thank you so much. Wow, I got my gift. Arno, could you please tell us about how was the campaign for this car and yeah, more about it. Yeah.
Well, the campaign went really fast actually. So we did it with what we call the French Battalion, which doesn't only include me, but also a lot of influencers and supporters from France mostly. So that's why we're very happy that this vehicle is going to have the French flag on it and the Mirage 2000 as a patch. And yeah, we fundraised 50,000 euros within 2 weeks for this vehicle and also for drones. So it was a very successful and quick campaign.
Well, thank you both, guys. Your cooperation is doing a great job saving lives and protecting our freedom, our country. I wish you the best luck with this car and thank you for your service again. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Dziękuję.
I think it might feel like we're far away, but I think this is our front line. I think this is the European war. And if we don't fight here, the fight is going to come to us. The Faroe Islands are pretty in the middle of nowhere, but anything can happen, right? It was incredible to be able to do something. I mean, what we do here is peanuts compared to what people do on the front line. So being able to do something, and I think we all have to do something. And so we raced for 2 cars. Which I'm incredibly proud of, incredibly happy with, and oh, look, the belts. So everyone has to do something. If everyone thinks they're small, can't do anything, then we're not going to get nowhere. Everyone has to contribute, including small countries, for sure.
You've been serving since 2014. Do I understand that right?
No. I joined Armed Forces of Ukraine in March 2022. I stood in the lines at the military registration and enlistment office for a month, but eventually I got into the army.
What were you doing before full-scale invasion? What was your profession?
Before joining the army, I worked for humanitarian organizations. These were UN agencies and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development.
So, thinking about your work and where you worked, you were definitely connected with war somehow. Were you having some volunteering missions to the front line or working with the frontline areas?
In the UN missions, we had to work in close proximity to the contact line, but we work in the territory controlled by Ukraine. We had different tasks. We worked with temporarily internally displaced persons who had lost their homes as a result of the war, helped them with evacuation, adaptation to a new place of residence, and provided humanitarian assistance that was needed. This is directly targeted humanitarian aid.
Гуманітарну допомогу, яка була потрібна. Це безпосередньо адресна гуманітарна допомога. Потім був проект.
Then there was a project with the UN World Health Organization. There we also worked directly in the regions that were affected by the war to provide access to health care for people who had lost it due to the consequences of the war.
Захоплені війною, уражені, для того, щоб забезпечити доступ до медицини для людей, які втратили його через наслідки війни.
The third project was the UN Population Fund, where we worked on the Istanbul Convention and addressed domestic sexual violence and sexual violence in general. And in principle, we were working to somehow improve the situation in this area in the government-controlled territories of Ukraine, which were also affected by the war.
Kupyansk hasn't been on the news for really often, but I know that situations there is getting worse during recent weeks. Can you tell us how long is it from Kupyansk to the zero line, and what is the situation there right now where you work?
At the moment, the city has suffered a lot from shelling. There is a lot of destruction and there are almost no civilians left. The evacuation has taken place. We are working with those who have not yet left to convince them that they need to leave the city because it is no longer safe. Anti-aircraft artillery and cannon artillery are reaching there. Drones of various types are constantly working there. Guided bombs are being dropped and aviation is working. I can say from my feelings and experience that Kupyansk is beginning to resemble early Avdiivka. At the beginning of the fighting for Avdiivka, the situation was the same.
So Kupyansk was previously already occupied in 2022. It was then liberated. The situation now there is really bad. As you say, there are lots of aerial bombs and numerous weapons are constantly attacking the town. But there are still civilians who don't want to leave. Do you talk to them? Do you ask them why they're not leaving from the town?
One of the arguments why they did not want to leave was, how will we leave all our dogs and cats? They will die here without us. We hear many different strange excuses. Also, a lot of people hope that there will be some kind of truce, that at least something will happen in this regard, but judging by the way the shelling is going on, they should probably leave.
Thank you so much for this interview. Shashlik. Nice to talk to you. Hope this car will help you with all of your missions, will help your pilots of unmanned drones and do its best job, be a best friend on the front lines. We also have some surprise for you, some sweets from Estonia. You've been there, so you probably tried it, but still, I mean, it's never too much to have some sweets with you on the front line. So I hope it will works for you for the best. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much.
I would like to thank the Dutch Battalion and all the subscribers who contributed to the fundraising for this vehicle. Thank you very much. You have done an incredible job.
Guys, meet Pinch. He is serving in the REVANCHE team from GUR, which is a pretty unusual battalion for its ideology. Could you tell us more about what is so specific about the REVANCHE team?
REVANCHE tactical group has values And we embrace these values. They include nationalism, they include our fraternity, and they include high professionalism. So we try to achieve our goals with our skills and with our dedication.
I know this is also a Christian battalion, and do you have any like specific rituals or that you follow specifically in your team?
Yeah, we have a lot of people for whose it is an important value, their religion, and we embrace it. And we have our chaplain who performs a liturgy for our team. And this is also very important because it drives many people, and it helps them to overcome obstacles which are created by the war.
What about the trucks, guys? How do you use these cars? So what are the tasks and mission for this one, for example?
So this perfect car, we already acquired one from NAFO, from our dear friends, and we are incredibly grateful for it because the truck in the Zaporizhia region, this truck was involved in logistical operations in the open fields, and in extreme conditions it performed operations with getting our personnel to the trenches, getting our personnel to position, getting logistics supply to positions, and actually the previous Ford Ranger hit a mine during the operation.
So it survived and it's still working for the needs of your team?
Yes, and it hit a mine, it survived, we recovered it, and we fixed it with our efforts. And after this, it still works, it still carries supplies for our personnel.
That's Range Rover, right?
Yeah.
It can be a great advertisement.
Ford Ranger.
It can be a great advertisement for the Ford Ranger.
100%.
And for our team who also takes care and maintenance of the cars before they come here. And also you guys, I think you did a great job saving it, because it also depends on how you treat the car, how you try to save it from anything, because I know that cars are being hit pretty often in the front line. It's saving lives, it's its main purpose, and also for logistics. But I hope this car serves you well and helps you with your missions and helps you defending our country and defending our freedom in lives, including my life of all of everybody who can enjoy this nice weather today in Kyiv. I also want to give you the patches of the team that was particularly raising money for this car. It's Wartranslated.
We're incredibly grateful to the team Wartranslated and your efforts. We value them and we remember you. Thank you very much. Greetings to Wartranslated community, to all the subscribers and all members of community who helped us to acquire this car.
Can you tell us more about where you serve and what are your tasks in the army?
I am an artillery consultant, if I may say so. Although my work is related to all types of long-range weapons, as well as communication with brigade commanders in these matters.
What were you doing before joining the army?
I coached the Olympic snowboarding team. I was a coach of the Ukrainian national team. We were preparing for the Olympic Games.
Usually people call the artillery the gods of war. What do you think about it? Do you agree that artillery is like the main game changer now?
No, that's for sure. But artillery is a constant part of war. In rain, in snow, in winter, in summer. It shoots from here to there. Maybe not so precisely, but it fires often, and this is our support. This is my artillery. In my opinion, a game changer is some kind of cool rocket artillery that hits the target. And of course, our FPV drones. This is a game changer. This is something that was not there before, and this is what changed the war completely. And artillery is just like a stable friend and our support.
We have except from this car, which will definitely do its tasks on the front line, we also want to give you some patches of the organization that was helping us to raise money for that car. Yeah. And I hope it works. It does the best job for you and for your team and saves as many lives as possible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
I would like to thank the Power of Human Foundation and its director Valery Herman for this vehicle, which will work in logistics in the artillery unit.
Бригада наша озброєна.
Our brigade is armed with systems such as Bogdana with a 155 caliber cannon, Uragan and HIMARS MLRS systems. Bogdana is a Ukrainian artillery system, but because it has a 155 caliber cannon, we can use foreign shells.
Використовуються всі іноземні види снарядів.
What does your brigade need the most right now? Maybe from the help of European countries. What could be really useful now?
Сучасні артилерійські системи.
We need more modern artillery systems. Unfortunately, they are destroyed on the battlefield, so artillery is always needed. There is a saying that artillery is gods of war, so it is very difficult without it. The more supplies we have, the more confident we will be in the future.
Чим більше у нас буде якогось резерву, запасу, і ми будемо впевнені в завтрашньому дні.
Well, I hope lots of people from Western countries are going to see this video and this talk and realize that helping is never enough actually in this war, because this is really big and full scale, which means that the resources are always needed. I hope this car does its job well and never lets you down. And thank you for your service once again.
Thank you so much.
For protecting our lives.
Yeah, thank you.
And I also have a patch for you from the Swedish crew that we have that raised money for this car, and they also wish you luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Висловлюю благодарність.
I am grateful to Suomi Battalion for raising funds to purchase this vehicle, which will perform combat missions in the Kursk direction. Glory to Ukraine!
Бойові завдання на Курському напрямку. Слава Україні!
We have just finished the handout of the 39th convoy. Now 24 cars will go from Kyiv directly to the front lines, providing logistics and, most importantly, saving the lives of Ukrainian people. Actually, we are very happy and very proud to provide help to our military, because this is the only reason that we can still stand here in the center of Kyiv, enjoy this nice spring and nice weather. If you haven't done that, please like this video, hit subscribe, and don't forget to support Ukrainian army today and every day. Slava Ukraini!